Hello again, my dear students, and welcome back to our graphic design class. So for today's lesson, I will be sharing with you what I have learned from my online class. So you will be hearing a voice mamaya na iba na hindi ako, and that is my teacher from my online class, and she will be sharing with you the first three phases of the design cycle in creating a corporate identity. So we will be following the design cycle phases in creating a corporate identity, and my teacher will discuss the briefing phase, the research and brainstorming phase, and the thumbnail phase. For the production phase, I will be demonstrating how to create a logo, letterhead, and business card using Illustrator. That will be my part. Okay, so sit down and relax and enjoy watching while learning. Okay, so as mentioned, we will be following the design cycle, and let's start with project and design brief. Okay, so this will be discussed by my teacher sa online class ko. So please watch this video.
I have created a scenario where we will take the design process from beginning to end. I chose a spa as the business I will be creating a corporate identity for. But you can apply the steps to come up with your own corporate identity, irrespective of the business you are creating it for. The most difficult part here will most probably be the concept creation and idea generation. And that is why it is crucial to interview your client thoroughly. Or in a case where you design a logo for yourself, maybe interview yourself and determine your values and views for your company goal. Starting off with the client briefing, I basically interviewed my client and got all details necessary to complete this task. My client name is Kerry Vans. I've got the email address, website, contact details, and so on. I've also added a note here, the due date. You can see the asterisk here. The date of completion of a project is affected by feedback and receiving of content from the client, and timelines will be adjusted accordingly. I've also added a customer signature where within the briefing or the interview that you will have with the client, you will make them aware of this and have them sign here just to protect yourself as well. The project info, the company name is called Faceplace. They don't have a slogan, or maybe they'll add a slogan later. The project description is a corporate identity. So what will I need to create for this company? It includes a logo, letterhead, business card, email signature, and other media. The target audience is mostly middle-aged women, but anyone who is interested. Competition, I didn't list competition, but it will obviously be other spas and salons. The company theme, is it laid back or is it formal? In this case, it's going to be laid back and relaxed. The brand objectives, what does the company stand for? So it's educated skincare. Customers should be able to effectively apply techniques at home as well, and not only at the salon. What makes this company stand out from its competition is that it wants its customers or clients to be educated in skincare as well. And they also have a holistic approach. The symbolic meaning, if they want their company to be symbolized in an icon, what would they like? So they said calmness, peace, and relaxation. Color preference, pastels, bamboo green and white. Special requirements. So the company focused specifically on the face and skin. And any ideas and inspiration, they like the following themes: a Buddha, water themed, and bamboo. Then afterwards, I literally just jot down ideas and concepts that gave me inspiration for this logo. So I started off with the logo and then afterwards created the letterhead and email signature and business card. So firstly, skincare education with a holistic approach. Then words that came to mind was balance, interconnectedness. So if you think about the word holistic, go and do a bit of research if you're not 100% sure what it means, but it basically entails that everything is connected. So physically and mentally. So it gave me the idea of a unified coordination. and I started to draw circles, because you will see that holistic approach normally has these circles, meaning that everything is interconnected. I jot down ideas regarding the bamboo. I've even used initials. So this is basically just drawing and writing down anything that comes to mind. Eventually, digging deeper into the Buddhism theme that they were approaching, I discovered that the lotus flower, which is a very prominent feature or icon within the Buddhism culture, symbolizes purity. So I started to work with that. And then eventually I went over to the computer, and this was my thumbnail concepts I created on the computer. I created 2 or 3 logos with the lotus flower in mind, and this is what I came up with eventually.
Okay, so that is the first 3 parts or phases of the design cycle. So you need to get first the details from the client, their design needs, and then their design wants. And then after that, you brainstorm or research. You get inspiration from the internet. You get inspiration from books kung paano mo gagawin yon, especially on the meaning ng mga symbols na gusto nilang ilagay. And then after that, you create your thumbnails. Okay, you doodle, you draw. What comes to mind, you draw. Okay, let your imagination be free. And then after that, you go to production. And production means you digitize now your drawings. Okay, so let's proceed to the logo demos.
Now I will demonstrate how I created this logo of the Face Place Spa. So first things first, let's create a new document. And for the meantime, let's use A4 as the size of our artboard. Okay, before we start drawing, let's add first our guide. And to do that, we need to display our ruler. So you can display your ruler by going to View, Rulers, Show Rulers, or you can press Ctrl R to hide or display the ruler. Okay, so I'm pressing now Ctrl R to display or to hide the ruler. Okay, so we will be using the ruler to add our guide. So to add a guide, you simply click on the ruler, hold the left button of your mouse. Okay, while holding the left button of your mouse, drag your mouse at the artboard. Do the same doon sa vertical ruler natin. Okay, now let's deselect this guide by clicking anywhere, and let's make sure that these guides are not locked so we can move them freely. And to check that, right click. Okay, may makikita ka doon na lock guides and obviously hindi siya nakalock kasi wala siyang check. So we can move them freely, itong mga guide natin. Pero once na clinic mo ang lock guides at nagkaroon ng check beside lock guides, ibig sabihin, you cannot move your guides, you cannot select your guides, so naka-fix lang siya na ganyan. So make sure na naka-unlock siya so you can move them freely. Okay? Now that we can move our guides, let's align them at the center, but we will not do it manually. Okay, since we are talking about alignment, okay, let's go to Window and click Align. Okay, so we only need this panel, so let's click that and drag it here so we can access it whenever necessary. Okay, so if you wish to align this guide at the center, select it by drawing a box, touching, kahit hindi naman necessary na ganun kalaki yung bounding box mo. Importante is it touches that guide. Okay, click the align. Click this. And make sure nang nakaselect ay align to artboard kasi as of the moment ay ang nakaselect ay align to selection. So pag align to selection, walang mangyayari kahit pa i-click mo lahat ng align options mo. So make sure na align to artboard because we are trying to align this guide doon sa artboard natin. So make sure na align to artboard and then click horizontal align center. Do the same dito. Click or select the guide and then click vertical align center. Okay, so that is the easier way to move your guide at the center without doing it manually. So now that we have moved our guides at the center and at the middle, next step is to lock these guides. Ilalak natin yung guides para hindi natin siya ma-select accidentally, hindi rin natin siya ma-move accidentally. So right-click outside your artboard and lock the guide. Okay? So hindi na natin siya ma-move or ma-select. Okay, next step, let's add now our ellipse. So to add our ellipse, you can either go to your toolbox and select ellipse tool, or you can press the hotkey, which is L. Okay, make sure na meron tayong color for the stroke. So let's use black. Okay, and to draw a perfect ellipse, hold your shift while dragging. Okay, so this is our ellipse. Next, press V. V will activate the selection tool. Okay, to move this. Take note guys that we do not have our fill. Ibig sabihin, we cannot select our ellipse inside, but we can select it using the stroke. So if you want to move this ellipse, you select the stroke. Okay, now let's place this ellipse at the center and middle of our artboard. So we can do yung ginawa natin kanina doon sa guides natin. Let's go to align. Select the ellipse, make sure na nakaselect siya, and click horizontal align center and vertical align center. Okay? Now let's duplicate this ellipse. So there are three options. If you want to duplicate, you can do the long cut. That is Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to copy and paste. Okay, you can also do Ctrl+B to duplicate, or the easiest way, hold your Alt key on your keyboard, click the ellipse and drag. Okay? Yan. So if you want to zoom in, hold your Alt and scroll wheel. Okay, so we will place this ellipse here, making sure that it's touching the guides, the horizontal and vertical guide. Let's do the same dito sa baba. Okay. So hold your Alt, click the ellipse, and drag to duplicate it. And make sure that it's touching the horizontal and vertical guide. Okay. Now, next step, let's remove this portion, and this portion, because we only want to retain this as the petals of the lotus flower na gagawin nating logo. Okay, and to do that, you need to select all the three shapes or three ellipses, click the shape builder tool, hold your Alt, and click on the portions that you want to remove. So I'm holding my Alt now while clicking the portions that I want to remove. Next, let's select this and go to transform, and let's rotate this to -90 degrees. Okay, so I will just hold my Alt and scroll my mouse wheel to zoom in, and let me place this at the center. So I'm pressing or holding my space bar now while dragging my artboard to move around or to pan around. Okay, next let's duplicate this petal. So Alt and drag, and let's rotate it 15 degrees. Okay, so ilalagay natin siya dito later on. Okay, duplicate this again, Alt, and then rotate this. So gagawin natin siyang reflection nito. So right click, transform, reflect, vertical reflection, and then okay. Ayan. And let's just align these two. So pagdidikitin ko lang yung dulo. So you can always hold your Alt and scroll your mouse wheel for you to zoom in to check. And you can also use your align tool, making sure na align to selection na, kasi we have a selection and we want these two selected objects na ma-align at the bottom. So hindi natin siya i-align dun sa artboard. Ang gusto natin is mag-align at the bottom yung dalawang selected. So align to selection and then bottom. Okay, yan. And let's just put this here. And let's duplicate again and rotate. So we want a straight. So nilalagay ko lang siya dito sa gitna para makita ko kung naka-align ba siya doon sa my line. Okay. And move it here. Okay. So we're done with the petals. So pwede na nating i-hide yung ating guide. So you can right click and hide the guides. Okay. And for now, we will add a fill kasi ayaw nating makita yung nasa likod ng mga petals. Okay, so let's select this. Let's add a white fill. Yan. And let's edit yung ordering ng ating mga petals. So this should be placed in front. So right click, select, right click, arrange, bring to front. And this should be placed at the back. So send to back. Ayan. So we want that. Okay, now so let's change the color of the stroke. So ang gagamitin natin na color is Pantone color. Kasi yun yung appropriate colors for illustrations that is purposely to be printed. Okay? So let's just select our logo. Go to swatches. Click more options, then open swatch library, color books, and select Pantone solid coated. Okay, so nakalagay na dyan 360 kasi ginawa ko na kanina. Okay, so if you want to search for a certain color, kunwari yung bamboo color, ang na-search ko is 360 yung kanyang kulay, 360. Okay, so i-type mo lang siya doon and click. Or you can click a color from the list. Okay, so 360 yung sa akin. So I will click this, close. So and that is added doon sa swatches. So if you want to apply that doon sa stroke niya, kung in case lang na hindi na i-apply doon sa stroke, you can simply go here or doon sa swatches and hanapin nyo yung nai-add na color. Okay? So yan na siya. So let me just add thickness doon sa stroke. So 4 point siguro. Depende dun sa laki nung ginawa ninyo. In case na niresize mo ito, sobrang kapal pa rin or kumapal siya, kunwari niresize ko siya, pinaliit ko siya, and then kumapal yung stroke. For example lang nangyari yun sa inyo. Okay, then make sure na punta ka sa Edit menu, Preferences, General, and check this. Scale, Strokes, and Effects. Okay, ibig sabihin nito, kahit i-resize mo ng sobrang liit yung object or i-resize mo siya ng sobrang laki, yung stroke niya hindi kakapal, hindi ninipis. Okay? So, yun ang gamit niyan. Kaya ako, hindi siya kumapal kahit pinaliit ko siya kasi naka-check yun. Okay? So, I have now my logo with me. Okay? So, I have now my petals. Okay, next, let's add this curve. So, to add that, gagamitin natin yung curvature tool. So, ito siya. So, I will just display again my guides. Show guides. And let me place this here. Alt. Okay, so using the curvature tool, so I'll click here. Sa my guide ako nagki-click and click here. And then, click dito sa gitna nung create mo na line and then drag. Making sure na nasa center pa rin siya. Escape. Escape para ma-end na yung line. Okay? So, ayan siya. So, tanggalin lang natin yung fill. Yan. So, make sure na nasa center. Okay, next. Let's change the cup of this curve. By clicking on it, click stroke and make sure that you are using the round cup para rounded. Okay? So, ayan, rounded na yung cup niya. Next, let's add a reflection. So, ang gagawin natin, isi-select muna natin ito and then press Ctrl G to group. Let me just hide my guides. Hide guides. Okay. Ayan. So, naka-group na siya. Next, let's duplicate by holding Alt and by dragging it. And of course, let's transform it reflect horizontal para bumaliktad siya. Ayan. And make sure na nakatapat siya doon sa center. Of course, we don't want the reflection to be as prominent or dominant as the lotus flower. So let's change the opacity of this. So click it, click the transparency panel, and double click this part to create a mask. Okay? Pag nakoloran ng black yung mask, ibig sabihin hidden yung object. So if you want to show that, you need to color it with white. Kaya mag-a-add tayo ng rectangle with a white fill dito sa baba. Ayan. Pero we don't want na ganyan kakapal din yung kulay or prominent yung kulay niya or ka-dominant yung kulay. So let's use the gradient tool. Click the gradient panel. Make sure na ang type niya ay linear. And make sure na ang kanyang angle ay -90. Yan. So, pwede mong i-adjust ito para hindi ganun ka laki yung kanyang reflection. Ayan. And also, let's change the opacity. Pero before we do that, let's go back to transparency and make sure na ito na yung nakaselect at hindi yung mask. Okay, so select natin to before we adjust the opacity. So, 50 siguro. Ayan. Okay. So, yan. So, we're done with the lotus flower. So, let's group the original or the lotus flower and its reflection. Control G. So, we're done with this. Let's just resize. Now, let's move doon sa kanyang word mark. So, the face place. So, ang ginamit ko dito is Comforta. So, magta-type lang muna ako. The face place. Press escape to end. And then, hold your shift while dragging the corner. Let's change the font to Comforta. Yung regular lang. And let's also click character and change the tracking. Tracking, by the way, is the spacing between letters. So, gawin natin 100. Ayan. And let's just change the size of this kasi mas maliit dapat siya doon sa face place. Ayan. Okay, and let's just align this here. Okay, so the color of this is dark gray, yung katabi ng black. Ayan. And that will be explained later kung anong ibig sabihin ng gray na yon. Okay, so we can now group this. So this is our logo. Okay, let's resize this by clicking Artboard tool and resize. Okay. Next, let's add an artboard. So, add tayo ng bago. And let's just copy this. So, ungroup ko lang, Ctrl-Shift-G. And I will just copy this. Hold Alt and duplicate. Okay. Artboard. And resize. Okay, let's add another artboard. New. And copy naman natin yung word mark niya. Okay, artboard to resize that. And drag. Okay. So, I will just transfer this here. So, ito na siya. So, mas makapal lang siguro yung stroke na nagamit ko dyan. But you can always change that here and adjusting the stroke if you want a thicker stroke. Okay. Ayan. So, that's how I created the logo of the Face Place Spa.
Okay, now that we have created our logo, let's proceed to the concept creation. And for you to understand this further, let's watch this video.
So the next step, once we've created our logo for our client, we would like to place it on items to have the client visually understand what it would look like. So the end result, this is what you will send the client. I created a brand presentation, which is an InDesign document, and I saved it as a PDF. And we basically give this to the client. So the idea generation, I explain everything on how I came up with the concept, because just showing the concept to the client, you need to tell them where you got ideas from and how you got those ideas. The client requested a brand with the colors of green and white, along with elements of Buddhism, water, and bamboo. The lotus flower is a symbol of purity in Buddhism. A reflection of the flower is added to symbolize lightness, thought, and expression. 5 petals are visible, resembling human quality and touch. Comforted typeface is used to create a modern feel, but keep it soft with its round edges. The reason why I used green is a symbol of renewal, refresh, calm, health, growth, and energy, and dark gray is a symbol of confidence, fulfillment, elegance, and sophistication. Here you will see the ideas that formed my logo eventually. So the lotus flower, the human quality and touch, as well as the reflection, and this is what I came up with.
Okay, now that we are finished with the logo, we can now use that logo to make our business card and letterhead. So in the next slide, I will be showing with you my demonstration on how to create a business card.
Okay, for now, we will recreate this letterhead and this business card, and we will start with the business card. So before we start, let me just give you a short definition about the business card. So a business card is a small, printed, and usually credit card size paper card that holds your business details, such as your name, your contact details, and of course, your brand logo. So before you start creating a business card, there are 2 crucial components that you need to finalize. So una, kailangan meron ka ng finished logo, and natapos na natin yun doon sa first demo natin. So we have created already the Faceplace logo, and the next element or component that you need to finalize is your brand color or your scheme. So yung nagamit na color is yung bamboo green and yung dark gray. So these two are the most important visual choices for branding. So you also need to think or to brainstorm, what do you want to communicate, or what kind of brand are you as an individual or business? What do you want your business card to say? Not just with words but also with the design. So kailangan mong i-consider itong mga steps na to when creating a business card. So yung first step, kailangan mong piliin kung ano yung gusto mong size. Okay, please take note na yung traditional is yung rectangle, portrait man yan or landscape, but in this modern era, sabihin ko na nga lang, okay, you can play with different shapes, and this is your way, because this is your way to communicate what your brand is. Okay, so pwede kang mamili. For example, popsicle yung business mo. So you can use a popsicle shape business card. Kung burger, you can use a burger shape business card. Okay, but for this demo, we will be using the traditional shape of a business card, and that is the rectangular business card. Okay, so after preparing this, so you have your logo, you have your brand color scheme, you have your ideas now, the brand that you want to communicate, nasa utak mo na yan. So ang next step now is to choose your size. So in the Philippines, ang ginagamit natin na standard size of a business card is 3.5 inch by 2 inch. So 3.5 by 2 inches. Okay, so let's create a new document for our business card. Okay, so you can name kung gusto mong pangalanan. So when you save, ito na yung lalabas na file name niya. Okay, so yung sinabi ko kanina, we will be creating a business card, yung standard size niya na 2 by 3.5. So yung pinakita ko na business card kanina, naka-portrait siya. So ganito yung aking size. Pero kung gusto mo landscape siya, baliktarin mo lang. But in my case, I'll be creating a portrait oriented business card. No matter what size, you always want to consider 3 factors pag nagde-design ka ng business card. Una is the bleed area. The bleed area is the outermost part of the card and this is likely to be removed. Okay? So, iset mo na siya dito sa bleed. So, ito yung automatic, kumbaga, na matatanggal pag print mo at nag-cut na after printing at kinat na. Okay? So, ang standard na nilalagay natin na bleed ay 3 millimeters. Okay, so iset ko lang ng millimeters, then 3. Make sure din na naka-activate yan para pag pinalitan ko ang top, automatically magpapalit na din ang bottom, left and right. Okay? So, ang equivalent niya sa inches ay 0.1181. So, observe what will happen pag inukay ko to. So, yung nakikita nyo na red dyan is actually the bleed. Okay? So, yan yung kanyang, this is the part of the card that is likely to be removed. So, Control R ko lang para makita nyo yung size ng aking business card. So, as you can see here, 1/4 is actually 0.25, 1/2 is 0.5, 3/4 is 0.75, and this is yung 1 inch. So, 1 inch, 2 inches, okay, and 3.5 inches naman dito sa yung height niya. Okay. Next factor to consider when designing a business card is the trim line. The trim line is the target line for cutting cards. So, yung dulo nitong card mo is actually, yung edges is actually the trim line. So, ito yung makakat. Okay? So, wala tayong gagawin dyan. Basta yan na yung end, kumbaga, ng business card mo. Okay. Next is the safety line. And please take note that anything outside this line, the safety line, is subject to cutting mistakes. So don't let essential elements like text or logos or any visual elements fall outside this line. So yung safety line natin, that would be our margin. Okay? And please take note, nang ilalagay nyo sa safety line, sa loob ng safety line are all visual elements na ayaw nyong makat. So, ilalagay nyo lahat sa loob ng safety line, lahat ng visual elements na ayaw nyong makat. And for that, we will add. So, mag-add tayo ng 0.25 na margin. And sabi ko kanina, ang 0.25 is yung 1/4. Okay, so I will just drag, and then 1/4, drag, and then 1/4. And gagawin ko din yan sa right side. So, we'll just lipat ko lang dito yung 0. Okay, this is the 1/4. And lipat din natin yung 0 dito. And 1/4. Yan. Okay, so this is our bleed area. This is our trim area. And this is our safety line. So we will put all visual components of our business card inside this area. Okay? Okay, next step na gagawin natin, we will now add our logo and other graphics. Okay? So we will now begin plotting the visual elements of our business card design. So first and foremost, the logo. So your logo should take the center stage of your business card. So we have actually our logo created. So we will just copy that logo. Okay, ito siya. Yan. So we will just get this and put it here. Okay, masyadong malaki. So we will just resize. Take note guys, pag magre-resize kayo, always drag the corner, anchor point, and hold your shift key. If you want to place this at the center, kasi sabi nga natin, the logo should take center stage, okay, you can use your align options and make sure na align to artboard ang nakaselect, so you can place the logo at the center vertically and horizontally. Okay, please don't forget that you have 2 sides of your business card at your disposal, and one strategy is to dedicate one side of your business card exclusively for the logo. So parang ito. Ayan, so logo lang yung laman niya. Okay, so isi-center ko lang ulit. Okay, and the other side will showcase the contact information of the person who owns this business. Okay? Pero pwede rin naman na yung logo mo nasa both sides siya. So, naka-center stage or naka-center siya doon sa page mo, doon sa front. And then, meron ding smaller version niya doon sa part where you put your contact information. Okay, but by the way, this is your own strategy lang naman. Though, many designers do this or applies this. So, in your case, you can please feel free to experiment with logo placement until you find one for your that is suited for your taste. Okay? So ito yung back niya. Now we will add another artboard. Yan, for the other side. And ang laman nito ay yung contact information. Okay, ano naman yung ilalagay mo? So, the fourth step now is to add necessary text. So, you need to decide what to put on your business card. Basta ang pinaka-importante sa lahat, dapat meron kang pangalan. Okay? Kung freelance ka, wala kang company, you don't need to include the company name. Pero kung company or business ito, after your name, kailangan mo include ang company name, of course, your position or your job title, and of course, your contact details, which includes your phone number, your email address, kung may website URL ka, or social media. Okay, yun yung mga pwede mong ilagay. Okay, in our example, ang nilagay natin doon sa ating business card, yan. Okay, so ang nakalagay dito is, kinilagay niya yung Wordmark logo, and then the name, and then the job title, which is the therapist, the phone number, the email address, this is the website URL, okay, and the address. So, pwede mo ding ilagay ito. Or kung meron kang social media like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pwede mo ding include dito. Pero, as for me, ang ilalagay ko lang is ito. Okay, and I will not retype this. So, I will just copy it and place it here. Okay, so ilalagay ko siya doon sa loob. So, I will just add again a margin here para ma-check ko na nasa loob ng safety line ang aking mga visual elements. Okay, so I'll just put a 1/4 margin. May nakalock siya. Okay, so 1/4. Yan. So as you can see, nasa loob dapat ito ng safety line para hindi siya makat. And also this. So, let's just make sure na nasa loob siya ng safety line. Ayan. Okay, let me just add more. Maglalagay ako ng logo ko dito sa baba. And I will just rotate that. Okay. So, obviously, makakat itong part na to. So, I just want this part of my logo to be displayed doon sa business card ko. Okay, so that's how you create a business card. Please take note of the information that you need to add. So, you have your name, you have your job title, you have the company name, okay, the phone number, email address, website URL if there is, and the social media. So, inad niya dito yung kanyang address kasi wala siyang nilagay na social media contact information. Okay, so that's how you create your business card.
Simple business card. Now, if you want to send this to a printer, make sure to save that. Okay, in PDF. So, isave ko na rin ito as Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator, okay. And, sisave ko din siya as Adobe PDF. Save. Okay, if this appears, make sure na iset nyo or i-check nyo yung trim marks sa mark and bleeds para ipakita niya yung trim marks once it is converted to PDF. So, save natin. So, if you want to see yung itsura niya pag na-PDF siya, ito siya. Okay, so that part will be the bleed, is the result of your bleed. Okay, so ibig sabihin yung part na yan yung makakat. So, as you can see, lahat ng content ko ay nasa safe area. So this will not be cut off. So ito lang part na yan ang maka-cut off. Yan, and then yan, and then yan, part na yan. Okay, so that is how to create a business card using Adobe Illustrator. To create the letterhead, so we will recreate this. Parang ganun din yung process niya. So, ang nangyari lang siguro, instead of using 3.5 by 2, ang ginamit ko ay A4. Or depende, pwedeng short band paper, letter size. So, pwede mo siyang iset dito kung gusto mong letter size. Or gusto mong legal, pang long, or gusto mong pang A4. You can also create your own letterheads. So, the same yung mga isiset mo. Okay, ang nangyari lang dito, ni-rotate ko lang siya and then make sure na lahat inside the bleed. Okay, so that's your letterhead and that is your business card. Okay, now that we are done with our logo and our business card and letterhead, let's now present our output to our clients. And for us to present our outputs in an appealing way, we will be using mock-ups. So I will be sharing with you some sites on where you can download free mock-ups, and this will be demonstrated on the next slide. Okay, so you can download mock-ups from graphicpair.com or freepik.com. All you need to do is type dito sa Freepik, type yung gusto mong hanapin na mock-up. For the graphic pair, you need to register first before you can download their mock-ups. So for now, para mas mabilis, let's use freepik.com and I will download mock-ups for spa and click the search button. Okay. For example, you need to download this. Please take note ang pag nagda-download kayo sa Freepik, hanapin nyo yung hindi premium. Pag may crown, ibig sabihin premium yan. Pag premium, ibig sabihin you need to purchase that. So you need to pay for it before you can download. So hanapin nyo yung mga walang crown, yun yung mga pwede nyong i-download for free. Okay, so just click, for example, ito, i-click nyo lang siya. And then, click download. And then, click free download. Okay. So, na-download ko na siya actually, and ito siya, yung cosmetic tube with box. So, na-download ko na siya kanina. So, for it to download, just click save and it will be downloaded. So, that's how to download a mock-up. Okay, now if you want to check yung na-download, so ito na yung folder na pinaglagyan ko kanina. Okay. Okay, so ito yung na-download. All you need to do is extract this. May makikita kayo na JPEG file of that mock-up and also a Photoshop file of that mock-up. So ito yung i-edit natin sa Photoshop later on for us to put our logo instead of their logo, instead of this default logo. So we can change this logo using yung create natin na logo in the previous video tutorial. Okay? So that's how to download. That's how to extract a mock-up from freepik.com. Okay, now that we have downloaded our mockups from freepik.com, I will show you now how to edit these mockups by changing the default logo and by placing or by replacing it with the logo that we have just created. Okay, so let's start. Okay, now i-add naman natin yung logo na ginawa natin in the previous tutorial. Okay, so first, we need to open yung dinownload natin na mockup. Okay. The Photoshop file. Yun ang i-open natin, hindi yung JPEG file. And also, we will open yung ginawa nating project na logo. We will open yung kanyang PNG format. So, yung dalawang yan. And this. Okay. Make sure na PNG para transparent yung background natin. In case na ang nagawa nyo is merong fill na white, okay, please use your magic wand tool to select that part and press delete. Okay, yung mga puti. Okay, so we will change yung default logo na nasa mockup, and to do that, make sure na naka-selection tool kayo, naka-check ang auto-select, and naka-select dito ang layer. Ang purpose niyan is para pag click mo yung object doon sa picture, automatically nase-select din yung kanyang layer para you don't need to manually select the layer here. Okay, for example, you want to change this logo. So, i-click mo lang siya and then mase-select na yung layer dito. So, to change this is actually a smart object. Okay, so double-click this smart object thumbnail. Yan. Makikita mo dito yung laman nun. So, we will delete this all. And we will place here our logo. Lagay lang natin dyan. And Control P to transform. If you are using a newer version of Photoshop, you don't need to hold Shift to resize. Pero kung if you're using the older version, pag newer version, you don't need to hold Shift to resize it proportionally. Pero pag older version, please hold your Shift while dragging the corner size handles para hindi ma-distort yung image nyo. Okay, so after resizing, just press Enter. Okay, and I will also add yung kanyang type and drag it here. Okay. Ayan. Parang masyadong malaki yung aking logo. Make sure na nasa center. Okay. After that, all you have to do is press Ctrl W. Press Ctrl W to save the changes. Pag nino mo to, babalik yung letter T na logo. So you need to click yes para mapalitan yung logo. Okay? So if you need to change this again, so just click and then double click the smart object thumbnail. And then we will delete this all. So delete natin lahat yan. And we will place here again our logo. So I'm using the selection tool to move and the name. Okay. And then to go back doon sa ating mockup, press Ctrl W and click yes. Okay, so ito na yung pwede mong i-present. Okay, so mabara lang ako. So ito na yung pwede nating i-present sa ating client during the presentation phase para makita niya yung actual na itsura ng ating logo sa pag nailagay na sa product nila. Okay? So that is how to add or to edit yung logo sa mga mockups. Just open the Photoshop file and then do the process na nagawa ko. So if you need to repeat the video for you to familiarize yourselves, please do so. Okay, so that ends lesson 7. Congratulations for completing this lesson. Please feel free to give your feedback and any suggestions for me to better improve my instruction. If you still have questions and other concerns, please feel free to send it via my email address, or you can send me a private message using my Messenger account.